The autumn wind is upon us, Erik. NFL Week 1 is just around the corner. This is our last weekend. This is our last Friday. At this time next week, we'll be gearing up for a single game slate. We'll be feeling the pressure, hoping we don't suck. We'll have write-ups and we'll have all this shit going. It's going to be stressful, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be with you the entire DFS season. So, Erik, we couldn't help it. We're going to do like an early look just because fuck. Let's get an early look, and we want to let people know. Check the video description below. We have access to our Patreon. It's going to be $15 a month. You're going to get a ton of stuff in there. Our player pools, wide receiver cornerback matchups, our best bets, value plays, stacks, studs, single game showdowns. I'll have some NASCAR stuff on Saturdays this year. Love the NASCAR stuff for the remainder of that season. MMA, all sorts of stuff. The Patreon, $15 a month. There's going to be a lot of stuff. We're even going to try to set it up. I know there's a way. We're going to do exclusive content on maybe Sunday mornings for if we, start getting some steam behind us here and have some people watching. So a lot of stuff on the Patreon. I want to encourage you to check that out. Erik, you getting excited? I see you got the Lions hat on. Week 1 underdogs to the Packers already.
Packers got Parsons, dude.
Yeah, they got you. They got Micah Parsons. I don't know how much it helps him week 1. Do you think? I mean, he's only been going to be with the team a week. He didn't practice at all because of back tightness out in Dallas. So maybe I don't know if you get a full-throated Micah Parsons week 1, but some big NFL news. Yeah,
big NFL news. Brian Robinson traded immediately. Probably comes a handcuff to CMC. Who's going to be the lead dog? Is it going to be Rodriguez or JCM? You and I have been hyping since before the preseason game. So that's interesting. What's going on with the Texans? I think there's a lot of value this week 1. I'm really interested to kind of pick your head because I have a couple value plays I'm kind of trying to get ahead of the curve and look at right away.
Yeah, and so for everyone watching, please, wherever you're watching, whether it be on my YouTube channel, Erik's, on Twitter, wherever you're watching, please like, subscribe. That really helps us out. Join the Patreon. We talked about it. We're going to have a full list of value plays. There's a lot of value week 1. There's a lot of unknowns week 1, right? It's easy to go overboard week 1, but listen, we don't necessarily know what all these teams are going to be. There's always a surprise, right? No one expected Washington last year to take the league by storm, stuff like that. You're going to see Denver, another great example last year, not really expected to do what they did. So there's going to be some surprises, some unknowns. It's week 1, so probably don't go crazy heavy. I can't help it. I'm a fucking degenerate, so I'm way too pumped up for this. Yeah. So this is our early week 1 look. Again, for all of our stuff. We're going to have so much stuff. If you've joined me for DFS before, you know how we do it. So join that Patreon, $15 a month. I think is as cheap as we could make it. Should be a lot of fun this year.
My college football bets in there with write-up. I'll start posting my college football bets in there and everything too.
So you're not just going to get football. You're going to get college football, MMA, NASCAR, whatever. If there's a way that we see an edge, something we can make money, it's going to be in that Patreon pool, $15 a month. So DFS week 1, 12-game slate. Before we get going, how are you going to approach week 1? Are you going to go a little lighter? Are you going to spread things out a little more since there's more unknowns? How are you approaching week 1?
For me, what I like to do is I've had certain guys circled from the get-go. One guy I've had circled from the get-go is Kenneth Walker in the Seattle Seahawks running scheme. So I really think he's going to be a staple. I'm going to look to use him, really attack him. Quarterback position, for me, because I do more of the 50-50 slates, I want a dude who's going to score 20 points.
Right. Well, I mean, we all do.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like their floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Floor. I mean? Sure.
Immediately right there, I feel like that really dwindles me down. I think the guy I'm kind of interested in is Kyler Murray at the Saints. Indoor game, Saints defense, I don't think is going to be that good. And the OC of the Cards has already stated he wants Murray to run more. So if we're getting rushing Kyler Murray, along with Marvin Harrison taking that next step, Trey McBride taking that next step, I am really interested in Kyler Murray. I think he's going to be the quarterback I look to after. And another guy, and I wanted to pick your head, we don't know what's going on in Texans with the backfield.
Yeah, and let's start with quarterbacks. Let's get quarterbacks and then hit the running backs because there's a lot to talk about with the Texans. I completely agree. But quarterbacks, I like Kyler Murray week 1. And we sort of talked about how there's some value. And I do believe there's a lot of value, particularly at wide receiver. There's a lot of cheap guys that I saw who could have breakout weeks against bad defenses. We'll get there. So you may be able to pay up for quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels against the Giants. I think the Giants defense is going to be pretty good. Now, last year against the Giants, he scored 13 and 20. The Giants allowed the 20th most, or 10th most, or 12th most rather. Sorry, let me do my math here. Fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks last year. But then I get down to Joe Burrow, 6,900 on DraftKings, 8,000 on FanDuel, going up against Cleveland, who allowed the 5th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks last year, week 1. When I look at the top guys, so on DraftKings here, the top price guys, let me reorganize this, are Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, and Jared Goff. This is on DraftKings, and then Kyler Murray right behind him. I think I'm with you. I think I have Kyler Murray ranked number 1 of those guys. Then I would go Burrow 2, Baker 3, and then you get to Jaden Daniels with the rushing side. I'm maybe Jaden Daniels over Baker, but I'm concerned about that Giants defense. At the top of the quarterbacks here, outside of Murray, who we talked about, I love that matchup. I'm going to have a ton of exposure to Kyler Murray, especially in that early only slate. I love that. What do you think your top quarterbacks?
I would say agree with you. Kyler Murray, give me 1. I think 2. I'm going to go down. I like the value of CJ Stroud at 6,000. I think just because we don't know what's going on in the backfield, how much can you really rely on Dameon Pierce and Nick Chubb? So I would like CJ Stroud and Justin Fields, 5,400 against the Steelers. Rushing upside. Cam Hayward, he's been holding out. How in shape is Watt? I think Justin Fields at 5,400, just because the rushing upside is huge there. So those would kind of be like the 3 guys, like a top tier, middle tier, and bottom tier guy that I would look to target.
Again, guys, it's just our early week 1 look. We're a little week out. We're recording this on a Friday, on the Friday the 29th.
Just kind of spitballing some ideas, kind of seeing where each other's heading.
One value guy that I have circled here at quarterback, and then we will move on. Again, we'll have a comprehensive list and all that stuff on the Patreon. We'll have videos next week talking about all these guys, all sorts of content here. Trevor Lawrence, 5,300 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel. Now, you're going to see prices, if you're new to DFS, to the channel, you're going to see FanDuel prices are generally higher than DraftKings because the salary cap's higher. So FanDuel has a $60,000 salary cap. DraftKings a $50,000 salary cap. So if you start seeing players closer to price, they're probably a better value on FanDuel. And of course, we'll explain all that as we go on through the year. But Trevor Lawrence is taking on the Panthers. Revamped offense. Lawrence is healthy. The Carolina Panthers allowed the most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks last year. You're getting Trevor Lawrence with some rushing upside. You're going to have Brenton Strange, who they like at tight end. You got of course, the new draft pick. Why am I forgetting his name? I don't know why. The number Travis Hunter. Thank you, Travis Hunter. I'm getting old, man. I'm tired. I haven't been feeling well, Eric. Travis Hunter. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. They just traded for Chad Patrick. They don't have great running backs. Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. No, thank you on either. I think they're going to throw the ball around, and they got a favorable matchup. I like Trevor Lawrence as a little value guy. He could be a cash game guy, but I do think you can pay up at quarterback in cash games this week, the 50-50s, because of the value at other positions.
Oh, I agree 100%. One guy, I'm going to do a millionaire maker, and the guy at my quarterback position, hear me out, Daniel Jones against the Miami defense front. I don't think Miami's going to be that good defensively. You got some rushing upside, little RPO with Jonathan Taylor. And with the $1 million entry, you want those guys with the high floors. And I think Daniel Jones, for his price point of 5,100, he could be that sneaky guy that could score 25 points against that weaker Miami defense. Because we need to remember, when they didn't have Chubb, when they didn't have Phillips rushing the quarterback, they really struggled, and they were giving up a lot of production. This is going to be their first game back after some serious injuries. So Daniel Jones could be another value guy.
Yeah, some tournament options. We'll talk tournament plays, cash game plays, all of that stuff. Let's move to running backs just sort of early on. And this is where we're going to find some value. You mentioned the Texans. Let's start at the top here, though. Let's just talk about the sort of the top 5 options here, if we prefer, like in the stud range, if you want to call them. You got Bijan Robinson at 88,000 on DraftKings, 8,800 on FanDuel. The Bucs allowed the 5th fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs last year. However, in his last 3 games against Tampa Bay, 20, 11, and 22 DraftKings points, respectively, in those 3 games. Then you got Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay, who didn't go off necessarily against 19, 15, and 11 in his last 3 against the Packers. McCaffrey, a lot of unknowns there against Seattle, and then Bucky Irving against a actually sneaky stout Falcons run defense, fall right closely behind that with Ashton Jeanty for the Raiders. So those premium guys, 7,000 above, Jeanty, Irving, McCaffrey, Gibbs, and Bijan. Who do you feel best about? I got to say McCaffrey's the X factor there. The upside's huge. We just hope we're going to get a full complement. And look, when you look at the 49ers wide receivers, no Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings, very unlikely to be ready. He's been holding out. He's got an ankle injury. We don't know how ready he will be. Watkins, the young guy, he's going to be out. He's missing practice. They're going to be going in with like Ricky Pearsall, and I can't even remember.
Pearsall's number one.
He's their number one. So McCaffrey, I think, is going to be very involved in the passing game against the Seahawks, divisional game. It's playing in Seattle early, which I like. You kind of avoid, hopefully, the bad weather. I think McCaffrey's my guy in that top 5. I don't love the matchup for Gibbs. Bijan, I think, is going to have a massive year, so I'll have some exposure to Bijan. And then Ashton Jeanty. To me, it's Jeanty and McCaffrey. For me, what do you think in these top 5, 6 guys here?
Bijan's a stay away from me. They lost their center, Dahlman. Their right guard just was put on the IR. He's out for the season against that Tampa Bay front. I can't trust them. Detroit lost 2/5 of their offensive line. McCaffrey, too many question marks. For me, I think it's Gentry. I mean, I think he's going to get 25 touches a game. I think they're going to look to run the ball a little bit more. That's what Chip Kelly has been very vocal that he wants to do. To me, the interesting piece that I'm going to watch for my construction is the player right behind it, Devon Achane. Now, hypothetically, let's say he can't go. So now that means you're going to have either Wright at 4,900 or Ollie Gordon at 4,200 is going to be their starting running back. Now, granted, I know the Colts did really, really well when Stewart was in the lineup at the defensive front last year, but at that price point, I think if you're playing 50-50, Ollie Gordon 4,200 or Wright 4,900, I think it's the way to go because it will open up more stuff.
Love the Ollie Gordon call. There's some value here. 3 teams right now, just kind of an early look with some possible value options at running back. I'd say Washington with Bill Krosky-Merritt and Chris Rodriguez behind Austin Eckler. They're at 4,000 and 4,300. They're very, very cheap on FanDuel. I'm trying to pull them up on DraftKings here. Here, let me just pull them up by the team. So we got the situation in Washington, which is dicey at best. And I would say Bill Krosky, and then a lot of steam to Chris Rodriguez too. We'll sort of see. It's almost like you got to take both and see which one gets the work. But you have Eckler at 4,800 DraftKings, 5.2 FanDuel. That's cheap.
Yeah.
Better value on DraftKings because you're going to get that receiving upside. You get a full point per reception on DraftKings as opposed to the half point on FanDuel. Then you got Chris Rodriguez, 4,000 DraftKings, 4,300 FanDuel, and Bill Krosky-Merritt, 4,000 on both sites. Minimum salary here. Who's the Washington running back? Do we want to play any of these guys week 1? Giants are going to have an excellent defensive front, in my view.
Giants are so good, dude, defensively, man. They are so good defensively with Burns and Lawrence. I mean, it's really hard with there's so much uncertainty. Like Rodriguez has been there and done that. He's been that guy that has got on and off the practice squad to an in-game lineup, and he just produces. He knows the scheme. Look, I know the rookie from Arizona, whose name I'm spacing on, has been getting a lot of steam, but I think this is going to start out as Rodriguez's job and then just kind of go from there. The guy I'm interested in now, look, I mentioned his name before, man. Kemba Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Jesus, I'm talking
about Kemba Walker. I just have to say that for all the NBA DFS days, I just want to say fuck you to Kemba Walker wherever you are. Okay, go ahead.
I want to look at Kenneth Walker. Let's look back at Mr. Alvin Kamara, who ran in this Kubiak rushing scheme his first 2 games last year with the Saints. Kamara, the lead back, 15 for 83, 1 touchdown. Against Dallas, 20 for 115, 3 touchdowns. 26 for 87, 19 for 77, and then he got hurt. Kamara was putting up huge numbers in this Kubiak offense. We are getting Kenneth Walker at 5,900. To me, this is just a no. Like, he is an absolute huge value play. He is priced the same as, look at who he's priced the same as. Brian Robinson Jr., who's going to be the backup. RJ Harvey, who's listed right now as a 3rd string. Jerome Ford, we don't even know. J.K. Dobbins. Another running back. How do you feel about Henderson from Vegas? He's been getting a lot of steam lately.
For New England, Travion Henderson against the Raiders.
Sorry, for New England.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you. So we have the New England, both those running. Ramondre Stevenson's been battling injury a little bit. It's going to be a 50-50 deal, but eventually Travion Henderson, they don't love Ramondre Stevenson. Like, remember, he got benched last year. Again, new coaching staff, etc. But the fumbling issues, he's got to clean that up. But Travion Henderson's the number one pick. Or not the number one pick, but their top draft pick for the Patriots here. I could see Travion Henderson having a good day, Mike. I want to go back to Kenneth Walker because I have concerns about Zach Charbonnet. I think Zach Charbonnet is better than Kenneth Walker. I really do. I prefer him. And Kenneth Walker's been banged up. I don't know how healthy he's going to be. How much work is Zach Charbonnet going to take from Kenneth Walker, especially against 49ers?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess my big thing when I like stuck my flag in the grass or whatever is it's going to be a zone scheme, and Walker averaged a whole yard better in zone concepts than Charbonnet did last year. So that's why I kind of lean
looking as well.
You're right.
Travion Henderson,
he's been
5.5 on DraftKings.
He's been
4.7 on FanDuel. Travion Henderson's a fantastic value on FanDuel in my view. He should get double-digit touches.
I got another one. I think people are forgetting the upgrades that the Tennessee Titans have made on the defensive line. Now you're going to be going into Denver, hostile environment, rookie quarterback. You're not going to have Ward drop back to throw the ball 25, 30 times. You're going to lean on that running game. Cushion to raise back from his ACL. They brought in Moore from the Steelers. They brought in Zeitler from the Lions. They also drafted Latham from Alabama. This is going to be a run-first team. And they brought in Old Man Callahan, who was the architect when the Browns were having so much success at this running game. I'm seeing Tony Pollard at 5,700, and he was a stud last year. He was, what did he finish? Top 15 running back, top 20 running back? I think Pollard, exceptional value. And again, he's priced lower than Brian Robinson, RJ Harvey. I mean, there's huge value in this running back.
You're going to see a lot of that week one because they put these prices out early during the preseason. And so you see, so there's going to be some mispriced guys. Brian Robinson, when they put this out, Brian Robinson was still a commander. You know what I mean? So you're going to see some of those prices. It's important to look out for. Before we move on from running backs, I want to talk about this team. You brought them up, the Houston Texans. So Joe Mixon, who knows what's happening with that ankle? He's not going to be ready. That foot is giving him issues. So to start the year, it's Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, Dare Ogunbowale. You're going to see Ogunbowale. You're going to see him in like single game slates. He might be a little value darling because he's going to be the pass catching back for this team. Question is, we got Nick Chubb at 5,200 DraftKings, 5.4 FanDuel. We got Dameon Pierce, 4,700 DraftKings, 4,500 FanDuel. Do we go Dameon Pierce to get the touchdowns, or do we go Nick Chubb? What do you think is going to happen here? I don't trust Nick Chubb's health, but I sure as hell don't want to be playing Dameon Pierce and then watch Nick Chubb run for 121 yards week one against the Rams.
Nick Chubb is one of my favorite players of all time, but I have better knees than Nick Chubb.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the comment you made about the goal line carries, I think that's it. Would it shock you if Pierce gets the early down work? Olawe, I think I pronounced his name right, is the third down back. And then when they get inside the 10, that's when we see Chubb come in. Would it, or like at a short yardage situation, Chubb be that kind of back? Do they run more of a cycle package like that? I think Chubb is going to get the goal line work just based on what we've seen from Pierce in his 3 years, from 3 years at the Texans, and Chubb overall with his body of work.
One more guy, and we'll move on. Just sort of in the middle of the pack. Haven't really got to, and again, we're going to have comprehensive stuff on every position next week. And again, in our Patreon, please click that link in the video description below. I don't know how much of a better offer you can get. $15 a month. We're charging cheap, and we're going to give you a lot of info. So check that out. But Alvin Kamara, you mentioned Alvin Kamara last year, week one against Arizona, good conditions, could see a high scoring game. And look, the Saints are starting Spencer Rattler again. We know how this is going to go. They're going to need to rely heavily on the running game, in my view. Alvin Kamara could be their leading receiver and leading rusher week one. 6,300 DraftKings, 7-1 on FanDuel. I love that price on DraftKings. What do you think about Alvin Kamara week one?
I loved him last year, man.
He carried me.
I
He
loved
carried me
him
the
going.
first half of last year. I won my league last year, and a lot of it was because of Alvin Kamara. I
And
mean, the Cardinals allowed the 9th most fantasy points to opposing running backs last year. Didn't really upgrade their. I know they got Calais Campbell back, I believe.
they got Campbell. They got the kid Nolan from
Yeah.
Florida, who's like a stud on the defensive line. I'm just worried about that Saints offensive line. Kellen Moore. The thing about Kellen Moore is he really doesn't throw to the backs that much. So you're going to lose the pass catching ability from Kamara. So I probably would be out of him. The guy that is a couple bucks more than him, 500 more from him on DK, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's very intriguing. Dolphins front struggled, as I mentioned last year. When Phillips and Chubb were hurt, both those guys are coming back from serious leg injuries. We won't really think they're not going to be at 100%. You got Daniel Jones there. He's more of an RPO guy. So I think they're going to lean on Taylor. I mean, this could be the lowest we get Jonathan Taylor all year at 6,800.
Yeah, I agree. I actually love this price. Ended the year on a bang. His last 2 games last year, 74 DraftKings points in those 2 games. And Ollie Gordon, we'll keep an eye on that situation. Ollie Gordon may end up being the most owned player in everything. So we'll talk tournament pivots and stuff next week. But I do like that Olive Gordon play quite a bit. Let's get to some wide receivers here. And it's a huge list of players. And again, next week on our Patreon, we'll have the wide receiver cornerback matchups. We're going to break all this down comprehensively. But if we just sort of take this in brackets, right? Let's start at the top, the studs. You got Jamar Chase against the Browns, who were torched by wide receivers last year. Jamar Chase has scored 40 combined DraftKings points last year against Cleveland. He's at the top, followed by Nakua against the Texans, Nico Collins against the Rams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. Is there a stud wide receiver you're looking to build around this week?
I love Neighbors, man. I mean, there was one wide receiver last year who had 8 targets in every game he played, and it was Malik Neighbors. And it didn't matter who the quarterback was. He was getting targets with Tommy DeVito. So that offense is going to be catered to him. I still think there's some serious questions with this Washington defense, especially in the back 4. So I absolutely love Neighbors. I'm a little bit worried about St. Brown against the Packers. Nico Collins, I love. I think the Texans are going to throw the ball a lot more because of the running back situation. So if you're looking to package in a tournament or stack Collins and Stroud, I would love that thought. I think I'm out on Brian Thomas Jr. though. I just don't know, because when I did a deep dive on him, his splits were a lot more when Mac Jones was at quarterback than when Trevor Lawrence was. Give me a second, I can pull it up. And I just don't know, is it going to be the repeat of that? I mean, it's the new offense. We got Liam Cohn. And Liam Cohn historically likes to get the ball to the running back. Tampa Bay's running backs had a 21% target share last year. And then, give me 1 second, I'll pull up this. Mac
37
Jones
targets
stat.
the last 3 games for Brian Thomas Jr. Carolina allowed the 9th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers last year.
Mac Jones, where is it? I cannot find it. Here it is. Mac Jones. Now, Jones had 8 games and Trevor Lawrence had 9 games, and I can't 20. Okay, so this is my worry point. He was 21st in targets per route 1, 23rd in first read targets. Lawrence is a first read quarterback. Mac Jones last year had Brian Thomas Jr., 8 games, 80 targets, 52 receptions, 687 yards. 9 games with Trevor Lawrence before the injury, only 53 targets, 35 receptions, 595 yards. To me, that's significant. And we talked about Travis Hunter. Is Hunter going to cut into that dynamic? You know what I mean? So I'm just a little worried. And, we've mentioned there's so many value plays. I don't want to spend $6,800 for a wide receiver when there's other people toward the bottom, a little further down, and we get a little snip for it, a cheaper price.
Yeah, one of the guys you mentioned sitting here at 5,500 on DraftKings, 6-4 FanDuel, going against the Saints defense that allowed the 7th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers last year. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is this a big day for Marvin Harrison? Because I may, with all the value wide receiver in my Kyler Murray lineups, be paying up at tight end to give myself. I think Trey McBride could have a big game one against the Saints. But what do we think about Harrison here at 5,500? Yep. Big play upside. What do you think?
Big play upside. I think they're going to look to get him the ball early in the season to get his confidence up. Last year, he really struggled high playing the ball. Really wasn't the X wide receiver that they hoped they'd be. So that's a good call from you. I think Murray is going to look to establish that really early to go after Harrison. I think he's going to be their jump ball candidate and not Trey McBride in the red zone. Now, here's my question to you. We all don't know what's going on with Tyreek Hill. Like, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he doing the porn star career that he's been talking about that he wants to do after retirement? Jalen Waddle, 5,700.
I don't hate Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins are always sneaky. If you can get a game where Tua's healthy and they get rolling, Tua and that passing game can be sneaky. I haven't got there yet, but I don't hate that. Interesting. I'll have to dig more into the Jalen Waddle. And of course, we'll see what happens with Tyreek Hill throughout the week. It'd be kind of weird if he didn't play.
I think if Hill doesn't play, and I think he probably will play, I mean, realistically. Yeah. But if he doesn't play, I think that's a pivot we got to look to make.
Absolutely.
Now,
there's a couple other wide receivers maybe you're just looking at early on.
I want a Colts wide receiver, but I don't know if I go with Downs or Pittman. I mean, which one do I go after, or do I go after TJ Warren? If I want to attack this Miami defense, in my lineups I don't have Jonathan Taylor in. Who do I look to go after?
Yeah, I mean, probably take the value of Joshua Downs. I'm more of a wait and see. I don't really trust Daniel Jones or the Colts all that much. I love Jonathan Taylor.
Come on, man.
But if I was stacking one, it'd be Daniel Jones with Joshua Downs. Just because he sort of seems to have that, like, I like Michael Pittman. He'll probably get more targets, but like big plays, if I'm doing tournaments, probably looking at Joshua at Downs.
And two more guys. Packers. I mean, Detroit was awful last year against the pass. Couldn't stop shit. But you got Golden, you got Dobbs, you got Reed, you got Wicks. I mean, when in a situation like that, the first week, my mindset is, look, I don't know who the hell it's going to be, so I just want to stay away. And if someone beats me because Matthew Golden has 15 points, they beat me because Matthew Golden.
I kind of like Matthew Golden's price, 4,900 on DraftKings. If you look at FanDuel, 5,400. Romeo Dobbs, who would be the other guy I would go to. Romeo Dobbs, it seems like if I don't play him, 11 targets like last year, and then I do play in the next game, 2 targets. And that's what the Packers always do. And I'm not completely sold on Jordan Love. I know some people that really think the Packers are going to be good this year. They're favored week 1 over the Lions. I think that's fucking ridiculous. I actually like the Lions as week 1 dogs. Give me that on the road. But Matthew Golden's price, 4,954, someone to look ahead to. I just have one other guy I want to talk, 2 guys who are going to be huge target monsters who are priced really cheap. The first guy I want to talk about, he might be my favorite little sneaky value play of the entire week. Cedric Tillman for the Cleveland Browns. They're going up against Cincinnati, which I think is going to be a historically bad defense. If you saw anything in their starters in preseason, looked awful. I mean, absolutely terrible. They were a terrible defense last year. They did nothing, absolutely nothing to help this defense in the secondary. Cedric Tillman, they've been kind of waiting for this guy to break out. But what I like is last year when Jameis Winston was playing quarterback, before he got hurt at the end of the year, you look at the stretch from October to November, that 1 month stretch. 12 targets, 9 targets, 11 targets, 8 targets, 3 total touchdowns, 500 yards receiving in that stretch. He's the clear-cut number 2. Everyone's going to be focusing on Jerry Jeudy. Joe Flacco, serviceable quarterback. You saw what he did with guys like with Downs in the slot. Jamari Thrash will be in the slot too, another value guy. I'm going to be looking at value on that Cleveland offense against, I think the Bengals defense can't stop anyone. Cedric Tillman is 4,400 on DraftKings, 4,700 on FanDuel. I fucking love Cedric Tillman this week.
I'm a huge Cedric Tillman guy. And I think the big thing to remember is last year when Cooper got traded, he came into the Amari Cooper role. And for those 4 games that you mentioned, he averaged 18.4 fantasy points per game. That puts him in the realm of Justin Jefferson and St. Brown from the Lions. And Flacco's going to sling the ball. Flacco and Sanders, though, they're the guys that are going to take shots, and that's what Tillman is. He's a field stretcher. Now, if it was Dustin Gabriel, whatever his name is, Dylan Gabriel, more of an underneath, not there. But I completely agree. Absolutely love Cedric Tillman. Great value play, and with how bad the Bengals defense is, I absolutely love it. One more guy I wanted to ask you. I have two guys, I want to ask you about. Marvin Mims. There's been some reports he's going to play out of the backfield. I think he's a clear-cut number 2 in Denver. I absolutely love Cortland Sutton, but at $4,500, it's hard to ignore Marvin Mims.
Yeah, I don't hate Marvin Mims. Here's my thing. I'm going to quote. Did you ever watch the show The League on FX?
No, I never watched the show The League.
It's a hilarious show. I watch it, and I'm gonna repeat something that one of the guys said on that show. Sean Payton is complete shit for fantasy wide receivers. He is. Sean Payton, my mom will not even watch it. She gets freaked out when she thinks he looks like a pedophile, and I agree. He does look like a PP toucher. He's not. I'm just saying he looks like one. But nonetheless, he's fucking maddening when it comes to wide receivers. I can't tell you how many times last year I had Cortland Sutton, needed a big game out of him, and it was little Jordan Humphrey catching some bullshit bomb, or Deshaun Vele. He doesn't. Tyler Franklin. I can never figure out who he's going to go to. I like Marvin Mims. Upside. I just don't trust Sean Payton.
Yeah, I get that. And the last one, when you and I talked last year, the one DB that we absolutely love to target was Tyson Campbell of the Jaguars. We don't know how much Travis Hunter is going to play defensively. McMillan from the Panthers, priced at $5,200. Good rapport with Bryce Young. Bryce Young looks to be taking some steps forward. That Jags defense, I mean, I already know, knowing you, Tyson Campbell is going to be on the DBs that we're going to be looking to target. Do we look to target Mr. McMillan?
Tat McMillan, I'm pulling up all of his prices right now.
5,200.
52 DK, 5,600 on FanDuel. Last year, Jacksonville allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Yeah, I think that's where Tat McMillan's. Again, we don't. It's week 1. It's a rookie. Anything can happen. Of course, injuries can happen. But yeah, I think Tat McMillan makes a ton of sense. Let's close out with probably, in my view, will be the highest owned wide receiver this coming week. And I think sometimes we're going to talk good chalk this year. We're going to talk bad chalk this year. And I think this is good chalk. 4,500 on DraftKings, 5,300 on FanDuel, Ricky Pearsall. He's going to get fucking 15 targets. They're going to have Kittle, Pearsall, McCaffrey in the passing game. You're probably going to see, they just made a trade for Sky Moore. He's barely going to play. They cut Russell Gage, then they re-signed him. Russell Gage is at minimum salary. That might be a play. They're not going to have Juwan Jennings. They're not going to have Watkins. Marquez Valdez-Scantling could end up being their number 2 wide receiver week 1 with Russell Gage in the slot. That's what things look like for the 49ers at wide receiver.
Yeah. Ricky
Pearsall is 4,500 on DraftKings. I bet he's about 60% owned, but I think you're going to have to play him no matter what. What do you think, Ricky Pearsall?
You get a number 1 wide receiver at $4,500.
If the only one. He's the cheapest number 1 receiver in the league right now by far in any DFS, and he's going to be highly owned. I want that to be.
And the thing is like I do 50-50s. For me, when I see that, I'm going to do it because I know he's going to probably be, like you said, 60 to 70% owned. Now, if he hits, I don't lose. Either way, if he hits or he doesn't hit, I don't lose anything because if he doesn't hit, 65% of the people have him. We're both at a loss, and I can use my other guys to make my points. If he hits, I don't want to miss out. So, I mean, either way, hit or miss, Pearsall's a great play in your lineup.
And just to point out, so last year as a rookie, remember he got shot before the year started, kind of got a slow start. At the end of the year, the Niners had the same issue with injuries at wide receivers. They were out of it. In the last game when he was wide receiver 1 with Brock Purdy, 10 targets, 32 DraftKings points. I expect Ricky Pearsall to get double-digit targets easily week 1. There's just no one else to go to. Brock Purdy has Kittle, him, and McCaffrey, and those are his familiar targets. That's it. Yep. I think Ricky Pearsall, he's going to be heavily owned, but he's going to have a big week at his price point. You will see Ricky Pearsall probably, especially before Ayuk comes back and Jennings, pretty soon you're going to see him up near 7K. So getting him at 4,500 is crazy. So let's go over some tight ends. Again, the tight end position can be tricky. And with all the value here, I do think you can pay up. So the question is, Trey McBride or Brock Bowers? I love me some Trey McBride. Geno Smith historically has not been great going to tight ends. Now, we saw in the preseason, they seem to establish a rapport. We know the Raiders are going to like, he's the Raiders wide receiver one actually might be cheaper than Ricky Pearsall, but the wide receiver one is really Brock Bowers here. Which one we like here? The top four: Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Sam Laporta. I think it's McBride 1, Bowers 2, Kittle a close third. All three of those guys have value in my view. What do you think?
My rankings would be probably, I'm going to go McBride 1, just because.
I think so too. I like McBride 1.
McBride 1, just because of the rapport again. And look, he's due for some touchdown regression.
Right. And they know that, right? They're thinking that they want to get him a touchdown early this year, right? Not pull that bullshit
he's
last
probably going to score a touchdown. So I go him. Bowers against the Patriots, you mentioned it. My worry point is Geno Smith. I know in the preseason they look to have a little bit of rapport, but if Vrabel's not a fool, Vrabel's going to look to take away Brock Bowers, so. And plus, also, they're talking about getting Gentry 30 touches a game. How much is that going to go into Brock Bowers? Now, the interesting person for me is David Njoku. 4,700. Now, if you look at his numbers when Flacco played and you project him out, they actually were better than Bowers' numbers for the whole season last year.
Oh, you're talking about 2 years ago in 2023?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
he's been banged up. Like, how is he going to be healthy enough to play? He's been injured.
We don't know. But I mean,
I love the Njoku call. No team allowed more fantasy points to opposing tight ends last year than the Cincinnati Bengals. The most fantasy points to tight ends was the Bengals last year. I think David Njoku's a great call.
I'm not touching Sam Laporta. I mean, I'm a huge Lions guy. I am not touching Sam Laporta. I'm not touching Evan Ingram. I think Warren's interesting to me. When they get down to the red zone on the goal line, there's been talks that they're going to run Wildcat with Warren. Warren did that at Penn State. Are they going to, there's talks that Steichen's going to do that with the Colts. He's interesting to me. As much, I promised myself this year I'm going to have no Kyle Pitts ever in my lineup.
I'm not.
And you're going to hold me to that.
Yeah.
You're going to hold me to that. And we talked about him during our tight end preview. If we really want to get cheap, Hunter Henry.
I love that. Can I mention one more guy who I think might even get more targets than Hunter Henry? He's sitting at 3,300 on DraftKings. He's 5,000 on FanDuel, so this guy's a steal on DraftKings. Carolina allowed the fifth most fantasy points to opposing tight ends last year. Brenton Strange for Jacksonville was heavily involved in the preseason when you saw the first unit offense. The ball was going to Brenton Strange. If you see how they used Evan Ingram last year, Trevor Lawrence is going to try to get the ball out of his hands quick. We saw the injuries last year in that offense. Brenton Strange at 3,300 on DraftKings is a great price, someone I'm looking at early on.
Love that call. Right above him, I think we need to look for the Titans tight end Chick Okowa. Did I say that right?
Yeah, and just so you guys know, if this is your first show, you're going to have a great time with Erik and the names this year.
Erik and the names.
Chigakonkwo. Chigakonkwo and Tyler Higbee there. Tyler Higbee, the last game last year, 10 targets. It's back to the Higbee show.
Young quarterback playing in Denver. You have Calvin. Surtain is going to be shadowing Calvin Ridley. So Ridley is going to be a zero factor in this game. Why not go to the tight end right across the middle? The weakness of Denver's passing defense, because Denver drafted another young DB who's going to lock down whoever the second wide receiver is on the other side of the ball for the Titans. I think he's in line for a good game. And then also, I don't know if you're a TikTok guy, but the best TikTok follow when he was posting stuff, him and his wife, Juwan Johnson. I mean, you want to talk about a funny ass tick. They posted a TikTok. His wife was like, "Oh, look, how nice of my husband to leave his clothes on the ground so I can pick them up." Like, they just, you know what I mean? Just shit like that just makes it like,
Nice.
They just make it funny and everything. But he is at 3,300. Spencer Rattler is going to be the quarterback. They just signed him to a huge contract extension. I think he's going to be their number 2 wide receiver, number 2 pass catcher behind Chris Olave this year.
I mean, how long will Chris Olave last? That just feels shaky. Chris Olave feels like he's going to be out week 1, concussion.
Well, I mean, and that's other.
I mean, it really does feel that way with Chris Olave.
And I mean, when you look at their wide receivers, you have Brandon Cooks and you have Chris Olave, 2 guys with concussion history. After that, you have Shaheed, who's a field stretcher, not really an elite route runner, just a high pointer of the ball. Bud Meads is on the IR. Then you got Juwan Johnson just chilling across the middle. I think if you're looking for someone, that's the guy I would look to. A couple guys who did good last year who I really want nothing to do with. I don't want to touch Brent Freiermuth. First game with Aaron Rodgers. I'm a little bit.
Aaron Rodgers not great with tight ends, right? And Jonnu Smith. We'll see.
And they got Jonnu Smith. Exactly. And for whatever reason, the offensive coordinator, whose name I'm completely spacing on, who used to be the coach of the Falcons, loves Jonnu Smith. Arthur Smith threw to him all the time. What do you think? 2 more guys, they're rookies. Taylor from the Jets. Could he morph into something? Could he be kind of like?
I mean, the problem is the Jets have never. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is, who the coach is, who it is. The Jets have never had production from the tight end. I can't think of one productive tight end. And wouldn't it be? Is Conklin still at the? Or he's gone? No, Conklin's with.
Yeah, he's gone. But I look at it. Taylor came in with a lot of hype. He was looking to be a potential late first round draft. And when I look at stuff like this, I always ask myself, who's the number 2? Who's the number 2 behind Garrett Wilson? If Tomlin and the Steelers say, we are going to take away Garrett Wilson, who's the number 2? I think Taylor could be the guy. And then also, I also looked at like which rookies don't like sit out when the number 1 sit out. We talked about this guy before, the tight end from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin Jr. Now, I think they're going to run more 2 tight end sets, or he could be their slot wide receiver. 3,100, not that bad against the Bengals defense, which you and I both agree is going to be an absolute shit show this year.
I think, yeah, at that price range, and that's where I like to be, is cheap at tight end. I still think Brenton Strange out target. He's going to play nearly every snap. He's going to be on that. If I can get a guy playing every snap, like another 2 guys I want to talk about, 3,500 on DraftKings for both players. Dalton Schultz against the Rams. He's going to play played 78% of the offensive snaps last year for Houston. The Rams allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, 29th in the league. And then my sleeper guy, we talked about the Dolphins offense. Darren Waller is ramped up. He's ready to go. There is upside with Darren Waller. You look at how Tua used Jonnu Smith last year. The Colts allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends last year. So we got some teams we got good matchups here in Carolina, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and the Rams. Looking at last year's stats, of course, I think there's some cheap tight ends we can get to this year.
And I think you kind of hit the nail. I think you kind of caught me in something, and this is kind of going to be my biggest flaw, and you're going to have to make sure you check me on it. Trying to get too cute. Right here, I'm like going down. I'm like, I'm like playing out a scenario with Harold Fannin, why it could be a good option. And you kind of, dude, Strange is going to be on the field more. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to kind of in this game, you kind of have to sit back. And that's why I always like doing this stuff with someone who I respect, someone who has game in it like I do, is just because you can bounce ideas off of each other. And then when you say something, you're like, oh, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. And it's just kind of a simple thing.
That's the DFS huddle all year, baby. That's what we're going to do around here.
Yeah.
There's going to be, and there's going to be plenty of time for that, the getting cute, as you call it, the single game showdowns.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to find those $1,200 DraftKings showdown players like Harold Fannin, guys you mentioned. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Let's go over some defenses, and then we'll get out of here this weekend, and we'll see you next week for more DFS content here. The highest price defense, Broncos against the Titans. They're going to be popular. I think I'm still going to go there. I just think the Broncos cause a turnover or 2. It's a tough first start for Cam Ward. Then you've got the Commanders against the Giants. No thanks. The Bengals are the third highest priced defense.
No thanks.
Against Cleveland. That's 100% fade. The Cardinals against the Saints. Where's the defense looks pretty clear. It's going to be shocking to me if the Broncos aren't more than 50% owned, which you just typically don't see. I think it's the best defensive matchup by far on paper. What are we doing defense-wise?
I mean, obviously I agree with you. Like, I would pay up for the Broncos. I'm looking at right now, Commanders against the Giants. Interesting.
That Commanders defense, I don't like him. I mean, I don't like Russell Wilson, but is Russell Wilson going to go out and blow up?
Wilson, you know,
he's so risk averse. He's going to throw the ball out of bounds. You're not going to get the turnovers from Russell Wilson.
So a couple defenses I find interesting that are a little bit lower in that $2,800 price range. The Jets against the Steelers.
What about the Steelers D against the Jets the other way?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I absolutely love both those Ds. I think that's going to be an insanely low-scoring game. My worry with the Steelers, though, is they do have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. So that's why I kind of lean a little bit more.
I'm just sort of unpacking here. Steelers Jets week 1. You got Rodgers going back against the Jets and the two swapped quarterbacks against each other week 1. Little added motivation for each player, maybe. I don't know.
I think the Patriots against the Raiders, interesting, but it's at 3,100, a little bit high. So the Colts got rid of Gus Bradley, probably the best coaching fire. They brought in the Bengals, old DC, who's great with blitz coverages, with blitz schemes and exotic coverages. You got DeForest Buckner and Stewart up front. Colts at 2,800 against the Dolphins. And we need to remember, when Armstead didn't play, Tua struggled. The whole offense struggled. Devon Achane may not be playing. Tyreek Hill, we don't know what's going on with him. I'm seeing the Colts at $2,800. If I don't want to pay up for a defense, I think that could be a serviceable option.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think right now, though, I think with all the value on the slate, I'm probably taking the Broncos and calling it a day. You know, yeah. I may have some Cardinals. It's just I can't even find a close second best matchup. I really can't. It would be the Cardinals against the Saints and the Broncos against a rookie quarterback and not a ton of weapons. Broncos may have the best defense in the league. They're going to be up there with the Giants and the Steelers. And who am I leaving out of those good defenses there? I'm leaving somebody out, but I can't remember. But the Broncos are going to be right there. They add Dre Greenlaw. They add Tuafunga. Holy shit. I like the Broncos defense. Week 1. That's our early week 1 look. Anything you want to add to this? We're going to be back next week. Again, please click that link in the video description below. Come join the Patreon. $15 a month. For you guys who sign up today, of course, it's early week 1. I'll have some NASCAR stuff for this week at Darlington. And then we ramp up the Thursday night game. We'll have everything Friday, all the stuff next week. So please click that. Join at $15 a month. I'm excited for week 1, Erik. We're a little early. You can tell we're excited.
I'm excited for week 1. I mean, yesterday with the college football, I was amped up. I already started piecing the lineup together. I got my drafts this weekend. I'm excited about those. So it can't get here soon enough. And next thing you know,
we got a draft Monday. I actually have another draft going at the same time. The 18 team. I'm at a disadvantage. I've never done this. I don't even know how to build an 18 team league. It's 18 person.
It's a guillotine league, and I'm just gonna let you know the draft lasts so effing long.
Fuck you. Just fuck you for that. This is all your fault. But I'm already paid and invested. I'm invested. It's gonna be fun.
It's fun though. It's fun, and it makes you think. Like you kind of. For those who don't know, guillotine league, the last place team is out. So you could.
I'm gonna be so mad if I lose week 1. Just there you go. Here's $100.
Like it was funny. The guy, my buddy who talked a lot of shit last year, he was the guy that lost week 1.
I'm not talking shit. I'm my fantasy league champion. I'm generally pretty good at this, but I've never done an 18 team league. So rounds 3 and 4 ought to be interesting.
Oh my God, dude. Like
you're getting down to the nitty gritty of players down there. So
just
we're going to do that on Monday.
Like, last year, my RB2 was Ezekiel Elliott for the first 4 weeks.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, I want to say thank you again to everyone watching. Please like, subscribe, check out the Patreon in the video description below. Follow us on Twitter at DFS Bachelor, at eTalk21. We'll have the Patreon stuff up there too, and tweets out, best bets, all sorts of good stuff from myself and Erik. Have a great weekend. Football's back, baby. And of course, good luck on all your future wagers.